This presentation is about what comes first, the process or the tool. So please join me in welcoming Dave Cravens, VP of Client Strategy at Determine, and also Dave Quillin, Procurement Manager at Alliant Credit Union. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. With me here is my good friend Dave Quillin. He's the Procurement Manager for Alliant Credit Union out of Chicago. Dave is a graduate of Youngstown State University with a bachelor's degree in Business Administration and Marketing. So Dave has actually started his career in sales. And then about 14 years ago, he got wise and switched over to the other side of the table and moved into procurement. So Dave has a passion for taking technology and bringing that to solve business problems. So he's going to share his insight and experiences with y'all today and help understand how he's been a catalyst for positive change in his organization and our industry. So let's give him a warm welcome. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
My pleasure.
So as Dave mentioned, I'm going to come back to these couple slides here a little bit later, but we're going through a lot of change at Alliant Credit Union. And before I get into that, and before I answer the question, what comes first, the process or the tool, or maybe it's the tool and the process, and we'll see, we'll learn about this together. I want to talk a little bit about who Alliant Credit Union is. We are based in Chicago, and we were established in 1935 as United Airlines Employees Credit Union. And in 2003, we've diversified, and now we are Alliant Credit Union. And we now have over 345,000 members all over the country, and we're one of the top 10 credit unions in the country as well, with nearly $10 billion in assets. Now at this point, some of you might be wondering, and I actually got this question at breakfast this morning, what's a credit union? And why is that different than a bank? I don't understand. So a credit union is, and I will give you the definition here, it is a not-for-profit mutual cooperative, right? Everyone knows exactly what that means. It's a really fancy way of saying that we are owned by our members, so that when our members open an account with us, they become owners of the company. So they are investing in our success, and then we are investing in their financial success as well. And we offer the same products and services as a bank. And if you'd like to talk more about Alliant Credit Union, I'm happy to talk a little bit later, or you can go check out our website. Now, I initially asked the question, what comes first, the process or the tool? But before we can answer that, what do tools really do? And to talk about that, I'm going to tell a story. Recently at my house, my garage has come to the end of its useful life. And so I have to write it off the books and get a new one. So I want to go ahead and build my own garage. Now, I am not what you would call a very handy person, but I have tools. I have a hammer, I have nails, and I have some wood. I have all the tools I need to build a garage. And if I don't have enough wood, I know where the Home Depot and Lowe's are to go find them. So I should be able to build my garage, right? Never done it in my life, but I have the tools. I have the tools. These tools are in my garage right now. I just need to take them out and build. Well, what are those really going to do? They're gonna one, highlight what I know already, which is not much when it comes to construction. So I mean, I can hammer 2x4s together. I've done it. I've helped people do that. I've helped build a wall. So these will help me do that, and with what I know already. But they're not creating necessarily the process for me. They give me the opportunity to make changes in what I'm currently doing, which is nothing. I could be gluing them together, but now I have the nails, so I can use those tools. So those are better than glue, and I can do that. And it'll be consistent. I'll use the same nails and the same types of boards across that. I'll use the same hammer because I only have one. So it'll be consistent. But how many people think that my garage is going to come out looking really awesome right now? Yeah, no one. That's what I thought. So just by having the tool doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to come out with the best product at the end of it. So really, the answer to the question is the process has to come first. We have to understand what our process is before we have the tools to solve those problems. And I'm going to talk about one tool that Alliant uses, which is Determine. But that might not be the right tool for you, because your process is different than mine. So you have to look at your process to understand what tool is going to be right for you. So why? Why? What are the benefits of understanding our process? Well, first thing is you're going to have a solid foundation to build from. And in my garage example, I didn't even lay a foundation. I was going to build it on dirt. So if I would have had a process to build my garage, I would have found information online. I could have looked up YouTube videos. I could have read plans. I could have figured out a process. There are documented processes out there, and I would have understood, one, you have to lay a foundation and build off of that. I would have had a really good place to start. Secondly, I would have found out that maybe that handheld hammer isn't the best tool to use. It might not be the most efficient tool. Now I see how long this is going to be. I need to build it, 30 feet long and 20 feet deep, and maybe there's a different tool out there instead of that hammer. I can find out what the right tool is to use it, or to use. And in the end, maybe I don't come out with a garage, but I come out with a really cool mansion. Because I understood the process first. I had something I was going to build from. I understood where the inefficiencies were lying, because in that handheld hammer, it's going to take you a long time to build that garage. I use a pneumatic hammer a lot faster. And get a better product overall. So now that we know that the process needs to come first, how did we use that at Alliant? And where does our journey start? Well, our journey starts in 2015. It was a rainy November day in 2015 when I started at Alliant to help build out their centralized procurement team. So I was given the responsibility for procurement and third-party risk management. And as Dave mentioned earlier, I've been doing this a long time. And those of you that have gone into companies, I'm sure you just went in there and said, I've been doing this a long time. I know how to do it. At Alliant, there's nothing here. We're going to do it this way, and it's going to be awesome. Well, no, I didn't do that. I went out and asked people, what are you doing now? What is your process? Alliant's been around since 1935. They have been buying things. We have been buying things. But each team was doing it differently. So I went to each team and I said, what are you doing, marketing? What are you doing, IT? What are you doing, facilities? What are you doing, lending group? And I had meetings with all of these managers, and they told me, here's how we're doing this. Here's how we're buying things now. Here's how we're signing contracts. Marketing uses POs. IT uses some different PO system, and lending and no other group really uses POs. And so all those things I learned. And then in those meetings, got to tell people that here's what procurement can bring for you. Here's the value we can bring to you. You don't have to worry about those things anymore. We can help put you to best and highest use by letting marketing people do what marketing people do well, IT people do what IT people do well, facilities people doing what facilities people do well, and then letting procurement do what we do well. And so after having those conversations and socializing what procurement can do for you, how we can put people to best and highest use, we defined a centralized process for the organization. And then we went through a change management process. And so we said, here's how it's going to work. After we got all the feedback from all of the teams, here's the process that Alliant can use and that will work for Alliant. And so we started our journey. We started from that little shack. We started down the road, and we're on this road right now to that big mansion. But it's not a journey without its challenges. As we've gone through that, we found out we do have a lot of challenges. We have people looking closely at us. We're a financial services industry. We got regulators that are looking at how we do things. There are regulatory requirements that we have to make sure we build into our process. We have manual processes, and we have things that have been in place for a really long time. People have been doing things a certain way for a really long time. And we're a growing organization. We have more complexity in the organization. So we have to make sure we get the regulatory scrutiny challenge overcome. We have manual and decentralized processes, and we have increased organizational complexity as we grow. All of these things have come into our process that we discovered by talking to the teams ahead of time. And so we understood what our process was. We started to go out and use that new process and building all of these things into it. And we realized this isn't probably the most efficient way to do it. We're sitting there with a handheld hammer trying to drive nails into a board. We're probably going to need a tool that will work with this process. So we put together an RFP. I know that's shocking to this room, but we put together an RFP with all of our requirements on what we wanted this tool to do. And we came up with a wish list. Now, these aren't all of our requirements. These are very high level, what kind of overarching things we wanted. But as we went out to the marketplace with our wish list, we knew not only did we want a provider and a tool that is going to do all of the things on the wish list, but that was going to work with our process. We already defined our process. I'm not building a new process to fit a tool. I need the tool that's going to fit my process and make my process better. And in doing that, we wanted all of these things to come out of one tool if possible. We wanted the tool to help us onboard our new third parties and manage those new third parties, and all of our third parties for that matter. We wanted the contract lifecycle management. We wanted the procure to pay piece. We wanted an integrated platform. We want all of these things to work on one platform, one code base. We wanted it to integrate with our core systems. And finally, we wanted something that was configurable, not customizable. I'm sure we all have dealt with customizable software, right? We get version 1, and then we're good. Version 2, 3, 4, 5 come along, and before you know it, version 10 is out, but we can't go to version 10 because we've been on version 5 for the past 5 years, and we've customized it so much that we can't move it. And oh my gosh, if we do, it's going to break things, and we can't move to the new version. We wanted something that we would always stay up to date on the newest version, that we could configure, again, to our process, and not customize it. And so we went out to the marketplace, and as we're running this RFP, we thought to ourselves, and I had chats with my boss and said, you know, this is a lot. We're asking a lot of one provider. We might not find that. I mean, as we all know, there are really good tools for contract lifecycle management, for P2P, for third-party onboarding. There are very good individual tools for those. And yeah, we might find one that'll package a couple of those together, and we might find another one that does something else really well. So we were open to that. We thought, okay, if we can't find one, we could probably find two. Well, as I'm sure you can guess by now, we did find one. And after we did that process, talked to many different suppliers, we did find that Determine met all of those things on our wish list. They had the supplier onboarding and management piece, they had the contract lifecycle piece, and they had the procurement piece and the analytics to go along with it, all in one integrated platform. And so we then decided to go with Determine. Now I know y'all are sitting there right now going, I've done this too, like, okay, great, you're just pitching this company. And I'm really not. They really did partner with us, and it was a great experience overall. And the important thing to note here is that our process dictated what we did and the tool that we came up with. Like I said earlier, each one of you has a different process. This might not be the right tool for you, but understand your process first, and then you will find the right tool that fits that process. When you do that, when you have that process, you will be able to build the big mansion. And at Alliant, this is still under construction, but we will come away with a really cool procurement process after it that I'm sure will look just like that. Thank y'all very much.